So, welcome everybody to this webinar. I'm happy to have you now here for about 40 minutes. I hope you will enjoy the presentation and have a lot to take away. I'm the product manager for job and automation monitoring in SAP Cloud ALM, actually also for SAP Focused Run and Solution Manager. So basically my topic is job management and job monitoring across the platforms. And today is about SAP Cloud ALM, which is the most recent product focusing on cloud and hybrid solutions. And I want to basically explain, what is the motivation behind the application? What are, let's say, the driving key principles, how to do basic navigations. And then, of course, I want to give you a demo. And at the end of the session, we will reserve some time for questions. And I hope to get some questions because this would show that you are interested and maybe also have some very specific requests or questions. Okay, so what is the reason for job and automation monitoring in a cloud environment? It's true that customers go to the cloud typically to get rid of all the infrastructure, all of the things that are outside of business that are not really in their core business. So let's say typically any standard job or any standard automation that is happening below the surface is not of interest to them. And that's true. This is not our focus, but still there are some automations that are important to shuffle data between the different systems, between the different services. And for those automations, still the customer is responsible. And since we are in, let's say, it feels like one application if it's a good cloud application, but in the end, it's different tenants. There will be different products that you use with different automation capabilities, with different monitoring tools. And all this is a big challenge if somebody is responsible for the whole picture. So this is the challenge, the big question mark in the middle. And if it comes to jobs and automations, then there are four aspects that are most important. First of all, of course, it's important that all important jobs are simply running, are executing, are finishing, are running in a certain frequency as expected. But of course, it's also important that they process the data successfully that they have to process. And finally, it is very important that you keep an eye on the performance. So if certain jobs degrade, so get worse in their performance, in their runtime, you run the danger of a downtime, of not a system downtime in that sense, but of a business process downtime. So these are the four key aspects that we want to bring to the surface in our job monitoring tool. And our job monitoring tool is basically, let's say, the driving principle. It's a central platform. So we collect data from the different platforms, we visualize them, but not only that we visualize and we give some, let's say, signs if there's an issue with the job. We also want, and we do this actually for all the job types that we currently support. From the central tool, you can then directly navigate to the executing system service in order to do, let's say, more deep analysis, error resolution, and so on. So this is the principle. We pull data, we display data, but we also show path back to the source system to continue your work. Here on this page, we write that it's planned to offer analytical help to say anticipate if there's a deterioration. It's actually live. It's live since today. So we just set it live. We have a 2-weekly delivery cycle. So when I put together the slides, it was still planned. It was not sure if we make it until this demo, but we made it. But bad news is it's only today and we have no data aggregation has happened yet. So I can unfortunately not really show you the functionality, but I can tell you that you can, as soon as you, let's say, register to SAP Cloud ALM, as soon as you kind of try this functionally, you will have already analytical information. I can at least show you where you find it. Okay, so let's speak a little bit about the general concept. The general concept is, obviously, I told you we collect job execution data, but what do we do on top? We do not only collect executions from the different services in SAP Cloud ALM, but we try, of course, to structure. It's clear. I mean, you have a lot of executions, and this is the nature of jobs that they are running repeatedly. So the same executable is executed in a certain frequency, and it's important to understand those that belong together. So we basically group the individual executions of the different jobs under one job. And this puts us into the position to give you a status for a given job, not only for individual executions. And we can basically provide a much better overview with this approach. And we can basically highlight or raise your awareness if there's an issue with the job, be it that the latest execution had an issue. This is currently available. Planned is that we also give you insights if some former executions had some issues, if there was a failure rate that is unusual. This is still, let's say, planned. However, since you have alerting capabilities, it's not that it's going undetected. So if it's a critical job, you can define alerting for it. And then you will, let's say, not only see the latest status in the monitoring application, but in the alerting view, you will understand if there had been some exceptions in the meanwhile. So this aggregation and grouping is really the key aspect of the application next to the forward navigation. Okay, what is the current scope? We are basically aiming to offer the central monitoring of all kinds of jobs and automations for all SAP products. So this is our mission, and we are on a good way. We have started almost, I would say, naturally with the old, let's say, things that are there with some ABAP-based products that SAP has. So SAP S/4HANA application jobs, this was the starting point. And we now also offer monitoring for ERP central component ABAP jobs, which basically is then a hybrid. Yeah, you can have a cloud solution, you can have a hybrid solution. They might be interlinked. You can consume monitoring for both in the same platform. And let's say a real cloud product is SAP robotic process automation. This is a job type that we are able to monitor now on top. And what is planned for Q4 on this slide, it's the monitoring of BW process chains, again in the ERP central component. And also here, I can tell you that it's actually since Monday, it's possible to monitor BW process chains because the monitoring of the ERP central component is delivered with STPI, and the latest STPI, SP16, had been released on Monday. So if you implement it into your on-premise system, you are in the position to monitor ABAP jobs and BW process chains with SAP Cloud ALM. What does it mean from the solution perspective? This was the job type perspective. From the solution perspective, it basically means that SAP S/4HANA Cloud, but also private cloud and the extended edition can be monitored regarding application jobs, as well as the marketing cloud, as well as SAP integrated business planning, as well as, these four, those are basically the application jobs. The business suite and also the SAP S/4HANA on-premise solution, this is the ABAP job. So this can be monitored, and then one more solution in between, SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation. So quite some products, and I would hope that you are using at least one of those products. And if you are in the RISE program, or if you have one cloud license, you are entitled to use SAP Cloud ALM. So you are in the position to just apply for it within an hour to get a tenant. And then with some basic configurations that I will explain later, you would be in the position to try the solution. Okay, what is that you would need to do in your managed cloud service? So be it in the S/4HANA system, or be it in a robotic process automation system, you need to do some configuration. You basically establish a push. So you push job data to SAP Cloud ALM. The details are documented in the expert portal. The link is provided here. Basically, in S/4HANA, it's a communication arrangement that you need to configure, where you need to enter some credential information and you need to flag which data you want to collect. So job monitoring obviously needs to be flagged if you want to get job data pushed to SAP Cloud ALM. In case of robotic process automation, it is in the configuration section where you have the option to configure SAP Cloud ALM. And also here you need to maintain some tenant link information, some credential information. And here, different to S/4HANA, where we collect all application jobs, you need to flag those application jobs, so those jobs that you want to send. So it's not by default all, but you decide which jobs you want to send. This has been decided to give more ownership to robotic process automation. So you are not exposing everything in one go. You can do this step by step. I mentioned that since Monday, you can monitor BW process chains and also ABAP jobs. If you have the proper SDPI implemented, and if you have it, then you can also set up the data push via report SDF ALM setup. Also there, it's a little bit, let's say, different UI, but you can enter a destination. You need to maintain destination details and user password. And then you basically activate a use case and save. And what happens then in the background in your system, it's in an on-premise system, it's visible. In the S/4HANA system, it's invisible. But in the on-premise system, you see that you have actually implicitly scheduled a regular job. A job that is running every 5 minutes or every minute, that you can actually define the schedule, and it is pushing data to SAP Cloud ALM. The runtime of the job is really quick, so it's not really putting a lot of load on your system. You can just let it run. Those that maybe are interested into details, actually, these are two jobs occurring regularly. One is scheduling data push, and the other one is a so-called heartbeat. The heartbeat process is used in order to communicate with the central platform. If, for example, to ask if there is some new data to be collected, configuration data. It can also be used for SAP Cloud ALM to understand if the service is still alive. That's why it's called heartbeat. Okay, good. So now let's go to the application itself, how to use it. I show it quickly on PowerPoint, and then there will be a repetition live demo in the system. So if you do not understand immediately everything, it's not a problem, it will be repeated. But I think the principle is good if you have understood. So the principle is, as with other Cloud ALM applications in the operations area, is that there is an overview. And in the overview section, we try to provide you the, let's say, the core of the essence of what is happening. So only on the second level in the monitoring, you will be hopefully not overwhelmed, but you will get a lot of details that help you to then really understand where the issue occurred. So there's an overview. And from the overview, you have the forward navigation into the, let's say, interesting area of the application, as well as a forward navigation to the alerting. Regarding the forward navigation to the monitoring application, it's basically sorting the application according to a certain dimension that we look at. So technical issues, which is corresponding to the execution status. So if you navigate via the technical issue tile, then the application, the list of jobs is sorted by execution status. If you navigate from the application issues tile, it's sorted by application status. In case of automations with performance issues, it's the runtime. And if you click on the tile with automations with open alerts, you are navigated to the alert view. We actually in the moment, let's say in the next few weeks, we will reconstruct a little bit the overview content-wise. It will be enriched. You will get actually more insights already on the overview. Okay, let's have a look at the monitoring application itself. Basically what you see on the highest level, on the service level, you see for the time window that you had selected and for the scope that you have selected, those services where jobs have happened in the time window. And here you see 16 jobs for this service, 1 job each in the other services. These are jobs, so not job executions. So if you navigate deeper into the service, then you will get the jobs listed and sorted. Sorted. The default sorting is by execution status, but you could also navigate from this icon, then it would be the different sorting. So this, then here we are on job level, still not on job execution level. Before going to more details, what else do you see? You see the total number of jobs that are collected and monitored, and then you see the number of jobs where the latest execution had an issue. So this is, of course, quite drastic example. In the test environment, you have here 15 of 16 jobs having issues. This is, of course, nothing I would expect to see in your case. What else do you see? You see if for the service there have been some alerts for jobs that you have configured. And if you deep dive into the list of jobs, then you see for which job the alert has been raised. So in this case, for the first 2 jobs, there was 1 alert. Okay, current status is still red, but it could be that the current status is green, but still there is an open alert. Okay, now we come really to the heart of the application, and that is important to understand. So this is a central cockpit, and from this cockpit, you should be able to navigate to the local monitoring applications. We know that basically almost all applications offer a local monitoring. And these local monitoring tools have specifics. They offer specific information, very good information. And we don't want to, let's say that this is not important. We want to give you a short, quick path to that. And for that, you need to navigate 1 level down. So you can click on a job, then you see all the executions that had happened listed, rated, again, for the different dimensions. And now the forward navigation to the executing service is via the job ID link. I will show it in the system later. So if you click on the info icon, a pop-up comes up, and then by clicking on the run ID, you're navigated to the managed service. And in here, then you need to have a user, obviously, but then you can do whatever you can do in the managed service with the job. Okay, last but not least, a little bit to the alerting. So I mentioned already that in the monitoring UI, you see if there are alerts. Unfortunately, there is no direct navigation from here, but you can quite easily, let's say, figure out the corresponding alerts by navigating to the alerting view. Then you see the full list of alerts, but since we persist to the alert, the name of the job, yeah, it is possible to filter. So you basically need to know the job name, and then you can filter the list of alerts for the job name. And this will basically help you to quickly focus on the 2 alerts for that job. And from the alert details, same principle as from the monitoring application, we offer a direct navigation to the managed service via the run ID link. Okay, now having spoken about the alert, let's quickly explain how alerting works, how to configure alerting works. If you expand the view, then the configuration view, then you see monitoring rating rules. I did not mention this yet. This is something where you could influence the rating of the monitoring application regarding runtime and delay. So you can maintain some thresholds there. Below it, there is the so-called alerting rules. And therefore, the services in scope, you have the option to set up alerting. So you click on the service. This detail UI is opening up. Sorry. And here you have the option to add or create alerts for the different dimensions. You can activate them or, let's say, switch them off temporarily if you want. The 4 dimensions are supported, so you can monitor for execution status, application status, start time, runtime. And you have the option to restrict the alert to specific jobs, but it's not a must. You can say, okay, whichever job fails in a given service, I want to get alerted. In this case, you do not enter anything into the filter. So in this example, the job name has been specified, so contains housekeeping, which basically means that only if the job name contains housekeeping, an alert will be raised, but not for other jobs. Okay, good. Last but not least, how to make sure to get a notification. For this, work is in progress, to be honest, so it will change in the next few weeks. It will become a little bit different, a little bit easier. But for the time being, it's that you need to define intelligent event processing rules. So there is an up for that, tile for that. And in there, you have to configure for your use case certain filter conditions. So you define that, okay, with this rule, you are only interested in a certain let's say only in job monitoring alerts, and only if the alert contains housekeeping, and only if the alert context contains a certain system ID. So this is basically you define here the notification for a specific alert. And the result is that if an alert is raised for these 2 filter conditions, then if in step 3, this is what you have done, you have specified a notification, and notification will be sent out. Basically, what do you see? You see that, yeah, indeed, this is the tool did no mistake. The alert name contains housekeeping, and also the alert context is as depicted here. And this is how the mail looks like. And from the mail, you have a direct link to the alert, and then you can do whatever I have shown you. Okay, good. Let's go to the demo. Quick repetition. So this is, I expected this. I was kicked out of the system. So that's why I put here the link. So I'm logging on to the demo tenant, and in here I need to navigate to SAP Cloud ALM for operations, and then to job and automation monitoring. And then the application is opening up with the scope that you had selected last time, or if it's the first time you enter the application, you will need to select the scope. So this is a scope that I use for my demo purposes. Why do I do this? Because I mainly focus on the functionality, so not so much on the content. So these are test jobs. They are producing maybe too many alerts, too many critical situations, but they are really good to demo the functionality. So if I click on automations with technical issues, I'm navigated forward to the monitoring, to the job lists. And this is a cross-service view now. Yeah? So it's not only one service, but you see here all 3 services have some issues, obviously, or actually have no issues. This is no issues. We are sorting here by execution status. So you see a list of jobs of all services. So all those that have a critical execution status with the latest execution are listed on the top. Let's have a look into the first one. And on this view, I see now all the executions. So I can see that this is a job that somehow runs twice per day. Not sure who scheduled it. Scheduling looks a little bit weird, but I see that it failed. So here at the moment, there is no more information to receive, but we are planning to integrate here with exception monitoring. So then we will be able to show the exception messages that led to that status. For the time being, you would need to use the information icon and click on the run ID value to navigate seamlessly into the monitored service. In order to understand more details, so this is the job that failed, the job execution that failed, and you see also, yes, indeed, there is an issue, it's an error, something is wrong here. What is wrong? Okay, something with the user. Good. So anyway, you can already do some root cause analysis. As said, we are planning to offer the exceptions in this area. Quickly, what else can you see? There is actually one level lower you can go, and you can get some information on the executable. Okay, so this is for type SAP application job. Let me go back to a different job type. So for a different service, same job type maybe. Marketing Cloud. Okay, Marketing Cloud is, you can also monitor your jobs. This is a Marketing Cloud test system. Just one job is scheduled. There are no issues, so no need for me to show you the forward navigation, but it would work just the same way via the link on the run ID value. Just the same way you can see what has been executed in this job and by whom and so on. Okay, let's show one more example. This is the SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation. Also, this is just a test system with just one job being pushed to the demo tenant. And also here you see the executions. You see that some of them somehow expired, had an issue. You see the runtimes and so on. And you have here, for example, maybe this one expired. What's wrong here? Again, you have the option to navigate to the remote service. So this is robotic process automation, the corresponding job execution expired. And here you have some details and can do whatever is needed in order to solve this issue. By the way, you see here, this is where, which I was mentioning, the configuration for SAP Cloud ALM. The data push can be configured. Okay, now let's have a look at the alerting. So these are the alerts, and just want to show you how to locate a given job. So let's say I'm only interested in the job with the multiple in its name, then I need to enter this in the object details. And then I will see only the alerts for this job name. I can also filter by alert name. So if I specify in the alert name something specific, then I can do also the filtering here. Those that have already understood from the demo, let me, or for those who have not yet understood, the alert name is important currently for notification routing. Yeah? So the alert name is something you can configure. And if you put some, let's say, some specific word into the alert name, then this you can use or make use of in intelligent event processing to forward the alert to a dedicated person. So this is the current construction. Maybe it will become a little bit simpler. So let's assume you want to inform Mr. X, then you would need to put into the alert name something that helps you to filter this, yeah. And then with this information, you could set up intelligent event processing. Okay, good. How to configure now? Just quickly showing you 8 minutes left before the question session. So you see here that for 2 services, alerts have been defined, are activated. And maybe let's go to this service. You will see that for this service, we have 5 alerts created, 5 alerts are active. We are monitoring at the moment for execution status 2 times. for application status, this one, and for runtime, any job. So let's go to the details to better understand. So here, more than 10 minutes delay for a job detected. Okay. What has been configured? Actually, nothing filtered here, and threshold maintained as 10 minutes. Critical execution status for housekeeping job detected. Okay. So alert type is execution status, and the job name contains housekeeping. Okay. Maybe last example, critical application status for job executing APJ demo report. So it's the alert type application status, and what is specified here is the executable name. Not the job name, but the executable name. You could also specify an execution user if you want to monitor jobs of a specific execution user. Okay. To create a new alert, you press the plus button. You need to select the alert type. You can maintain the alert name. As said, alert name is important if you want to make use of it in the notification routing. You should think about something that helps you, and then you can specify the filters. Important maybe, don't be surprised. So you can create one alert per service, per alert type, without specifying any filter. But as soon as you do it another time, the system will tell you, please don't do this. This would be redundant and it would just cause performance issues. So this is not allowed. Okay. I cancel out of here. Sorry to close this. Just want to show you alert details. So here I'm in the alert details of this this alert, and I see here the alerted instance, and from here I can also do the forward navigation to the managed cloud. Okay, good. And I think basically this is what I wanted to show, but I was mentioning to you that yes, analysis has gone live just today. Unfortunately, there's no data yet. Aggregation job runs every night. So tonight would be the first night where the job data is aggregated, and then you would see the total executions, the total runtime, the failed executions, failure rate, average runtime. So you would be able to identify those jobs that have a high load or have a high failure rate and so on. And then we are building this, let's say constantly, we are trying to improve also based on customer feedback to provide insights into those aspects that are critical. Okay, let me return to the slide deck. I think I didn't forget anything. So this was the demo. And let's quickly give an outlook. So currently available is this. Okay, I didn't show you the ABAP job things. Maybe this is what I wanted to show you. Okay, let's do this quickly because that's really cool. And I told you that maybe you really have an ABAP system with a lot of job execution happening, and that would be interesting to the situation. So here you see this is one system and the situation is really ugly. So a lot of failures, but okay. There's also a lot of jobs here. But you see that the list is really big. So it's a little bit slow here in the performance, not sure why. In the test tenant, it's better. Okay, but you see here, for example, this job has latest execution status red. And also here, that's why I wanted to show you, we have the option then to do the jump to the remote system, to the This is SM37 for the job. And actually, this is also supported not only for ABAP jobs, but also for BW process chains. So I just want to show you this example. It's slow. So just 2 chains. And in here, also via the run ID, you can navigate to the detailed local monitoring tool. Okay, good. So then I have really shown everything what I wanted to show. So ABAP jobs and planned for Q1 until Q1 monitoring for BW process chains. Actually, so this is available already. It's not planned anymore. It's available. Of course, feedback welcome. We will improve on what we offer, no doubt about that, but it's there. Alerting and notifications are there. And what is next? What will come? What we plan to offer is actually SCP jobs. So it's SCP or BTP jobs, different applications that use the SAP Cloud Platform, like resource management, data privacy integration. We are also planning to extend our footprint on the on-premise side, so about business workflow and maybe also the SCP workflow. We'll have to see how quickly we can move forward. What we also want to get better, since we are collecting now analytical information, so aggregated information, we can improve our alerting capabilities. So we will not expect any more fixed thresholds, but we will also just accept thresholds, relative or exceptional runtime whatsoever, and trend reporting will, let's say, be improved. Finally, integration with exception management, as mentioned, is planned. Okay, good. So that's it. I hope you learned a lot. What you have learned is basically also documented in the expert portal for job and automation monitoring, of course, in a little bit different way, but you can read this up here as well. You have information how to configure, and this information is constantly updated. So whatever we change in the tool, we will update the documentation. Okay, thanks for your patience listening to me, and now I'm open to questions.
Maybe, Gary, there came one question in the chat.
Yeah.
Please, to the participants, please put your questions in the QA section. But maybe for this now, Gary, you could check it.
We can restrict the user to execute only display mode. We can control dashboard tile via authorization. There are 2 roles for job monitoring. I think this is the case also for other applications. So we have a display user, and we have actually we have 3 roles. I think we have a display user, we have a user that can only consume, and we have a user that can do it all. So can consume and configure alerting. So different roles are available. Should I put this into the answers as well, or is it just to have it documented? Maybe.
That's okay. I have documented this.
Okay.
So
I would have a question. I would have the question, how many of the participants actually are already using SAP Cloud ALM? So maybe just somebody could raise his hand and say, hey, yes or not, or since we have, okay, some participants are leaving already, but this would be interesting to me, of course. And the second question would be, okay, how many actually are thinking about using job management or job monitoring? Okay, using demo system, yeah. So I can only encourage you to maybe get your own demo system, yeah. Get a system. It's for free. If you're entitled, at least it's for free. Stefan knows the details, but I think it's more or less for everybody who has a cloud license. It's for free, and then you have an own tenant. It's much better than just to look into the demo system. So this would be my ask, and of course, those that that then start and use it, it would be really important to me that just feel free to reach out. At the moment, we can still manage it. It's not thousands of customers. We have, I think, in SAP Cloud ALM, if I'm not mistaken, like 300 customers. And for the job monitoring use case, I think about 20 active customers, maybe 40 who have clicked in the past. But so point being, you are not the first. You are not finding, let's say, a complete, how to say, Baustelle in German, yeah. But you are in a position to contribute so that it will be built what you need most. So I can just encourage you to use this opportunity, and to shape the future so that it will be useful for you.
Okay, I think there are no more questions. Thank you very much from my side, Görgli. Very nice session.